learning to know and learning to do is actually also reflected here, because this here is about learning to live together in community. This is about learning to be in culture. Also have an understanding about the very underlying being of human nature, learning to know and learning to do. And this is part and parcel of our work, though we don't phrase it as the UNESCO as pillars, because pillars are rather static, but we look for a more circular, organic way of connecting these different spaces. So this is the menu card of today. And I found an African menu card. And what I would like to do, I want to begin with a brief introduction to Transform and our work. Because the way how we do research, the way how we do PhD is only understood if you see what the philosophy is that is underlying our work. So this will be, I will start with it, and then I will show how integral research, that's the research approach that we have developed, can lead to social innovation. And I brought a couple of our books with us, so integral research is this one, because at one stage we got frustrated, why is research not leading to social innovation to the degree it should? And I begin with an example from Africa, actually from colleagues from Nigeria. And then I'm going to unpack a little bit, number 3, what do we mean by integral research and innovation? How does this research framework work? And then I come and said, well, we noticed that the new research framework we developed isn't yet sufficient to really support PhDs, masters, bachelors in social change. And we developed a formula which we called 4C, integral research and care. All of these are acronyms which I'm going to unpack. And I come at the very end to the term, how do we evolve supervision to what I call co-creation. And there are different words. I think you talk about shared mentoring, which moves into this same space, but that is something I would love to explore together with you and to hear your experiences in this space. So let me start with a bit of who we are. And when you look at Transform, and you see a couple of our book titles coming up, because we believe profoundly also in the need to develop a new knowledge base. And that knowledge base is not just 2 or 3 people like Ronnie Lessem, my co-founder of Transform, and myself, but it's a knowledge base that we are co-creating together with our PhDs, with fellows from around the world, even on a level on bachelor and masters, we invite into the space of shared knowledge creation. And you see a couple of our titles here, and you see that we have grown over the last years, not just to a center which is based in Geneva, and you mentioned our rural campus in France, because we believe it's an enormous need to connect the urban and the rural, as you mentioned, as innovation often happens in the spaces in between nations, between rural and urban, between tradition and modernity, so you need to look in the interface. And this is usually the most difficult places to access. There are places of uncertainty, when you step out of your own comfort zone into a space in between, but that's where usually learning is greatest and the possibility for innovation can take place. That's why we are called Transform. It's a space in between. So we see ourselves as a driver for education and research for social change and a catalyst for integral transformation processes. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the reasons of being. Jump in. Transform. what is the philosophy behind in order then to understand how the PhD program works. So it's connected. One builds on the other. But thanks, and please butt in with questions if there is any unclarity. Now I can hear an echo. Oh, okay, that's the microphone seems to work. So, about Transform, our reason for being is because, as we see it, that the world is a world on fire, and we are facing, and these are meta topics that we can face, and you can translate it back into your own societies, into your own organizations, massive issues on the environmental level and community cohesion level, which is the southern part. We have a massive lack of meaning, conflict, fundamentalism, and terrorism as a meta-eastern theme. In the north, you see bureaucracy, dogma, corruption, closed and failing systems, and west, which is the more economic dimension, on the one hand, this drive towards ever more materialistic perspective in the face of abject poverty, which is not, despite actually all declared goals around the world, is not sufficiently or not dramatically changing this situation. So that's actually what we seek to address, because this is, if you so want, the calling of our organization. And I'm saying that outwardly because for me, research is not something objective, nor is education, but it needs to be designed, and this is a personal value statement that I'm making, to address the burning issues we are facing. Because what on earth is education for if it doesn't equip me with being an effective evolutionary agent, change agent, whatever word you want to use in your society? And how many of us go and come from a university, have a degree, and then what? If you have a business degree, the business tells you, well, forget what you learned, now everything is different. I studied business, and I said, what on earth? 4 years of being on one of the best business economic school in Europe, in St. Gallen, and then people tell me, well, forget about that. We are not interested in theory. But then our economic model, our business model, is based on a theory and a philosophy, Adam Smith and so on. So we are, in a way, if we do not revisit this,